Let me tell you something most people will never see coming. Every headline, every prediction, they're all whispers compared to what's silently unfolding behind the scenes right now. And trust me, if you're still sitting on yesterday's ideas, you're already behind. Most people live their lives thinking tomorrow will look like today. They wake up, check their phones, scroll through the same feeds, watch the same news cycles, and believe the world is stable. But it's not. Right now, as we sit here, there are forces moving behind the curtain, economic, technological, and geopolitical, that are about to rewrite the script of everything you thought you knew. And here's the truth, most people have no idea it's even happening. This disruption isn't going to knock on your door politely. It's not going to send you a calendar invite. It's going to crash in when you least expect it. And if you're not ready, it won't just rattle your comfort zone, it will erase it. Look around, the economy is showing cracks that people don't want to admit. Inflation isn't just about the price of groceries, it's about the silent tax that erodes everything you've built. Jobs that once felt secure are being eaten alive by automation and artificial intelligence, and yet most people think their degrees and resumes will protect them. Entire industries are on the edge of collapse, but because the news doesn't scream it 24/7, people sleepwalk through it. That's the illusion, that's the trap. The disruption I'm talking about is unseen precisely because it's disguised as progress. It comes dressed as convenience, innovation, or opportunity, and by the time you realize it's here, it's already swallowed entire systems whole. Think about what happened with retail when e-commerce exploded. Think about what happened with taxis when ride-sharing apps appeared. Think about what happened with film when streaming took over. Each time, millions were caught off guard, left scrambling to adjust, left behind in the dust. Now multiply that by 10, and you'll understand the scale of what's coming. But here's the twist. Disruption doesn't care if you're ready or not. It doesn't wait for you to catch up. It rewards the alert and punishes the blind. And right now, most people are blind. They don't see the shift in global power. They don't see the technological revolution accelerating at an exponential pace. They don't see the economic reset slowly building pressure like a volcano under the surface. The ones who will thrive in this chaos are the ones who refuse to accept the comfortable lie. They're the ones scanning the horizon, looking where others refuse to look. They're asking hard questions. What skills will still matter 5 years from now? What industries are vulnerable to collapse? Where is wealth flowing quietly while the crowd is distracted by noise? This isn't paranoia, it's preparation. History doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. Every great disruption blindsided the majority and elevated the few who were awake. The Great Depression, the dot-com crash, the housing collapse of 2008. Each time, most people laughed at warnings, called it fear, mongering, and then begged for answers when the floor dropped out. Don't think it can't happen again. It can, it will, but don't misunderstand me. This isn't doom and gloom. This is about opportunity, because disruption doesn't just destroy, it creates. It's the ultimate transfer of wealth, power, and influence. When old systems crumble, new ones rise. The people who are awake enough, bold enough, and disciplined enough to position themselves don't just survive. They multiply. Every empire that fell created space for new leaders to emerge. Every outdated technology that collapsed gave birth to industries worth trillions. So the question is, where do you want to stand when the storm hits? On the side of the majority, pretending everything will be fine, holding on to the past until it slips through your fingers? Or on the side of the few who saw it coming, who prepared, who had the courage to step away from comfort and into foresight? The time to act isn't when disruption arrives. It's now, right now. Every skill you sharpen, every perspective you shift, every system you build is either preparing you for the collapse or chaining you to it. Most people will wait until it's too late. They'll be shocked, panicked, and paralyzed. Don't be one of them. Remember this. Unseen disruption is only unseen to those who refuse to open their eyes. If you choose to see it, if you choose to prepare for it, you'll realize it's not a curse. It's the greatest chance of your life. The wave is coming, whether you're ready or not. The only choice you have is whether you'll be crushed beneath it, or ride it to heights you never imagined. Most people believe success is about luck, timing, or being born into the right circumstances. They point to the economy, their boss, their family background, or even the government as the reason why they're stuck where they are. But the truth is much harder to swallow. It's not your environment that decides your future, it's your mindset. The difference between the people who rise and the people who sink is not money, not connections, not opportunity. It's the way they think, the way they respond, and the way they decide to show up every single day. Your mindset is the filter through which you see the world. Two people can face the exact same problem. One collapses, the other uses it as fuel. One sees failure as proof they're not enough. The other sees failure as feedback to refine and grow. One waits for the perfect moment, the other creates the moment. Same environment, same challenge, different outcome. Why? Because mindset determines outcome. If you think small, your results will always be small. If you think like a victim, life will treat you like one. But if you think like a creator, if you think like a strategist, if you think like someone who takes ownership of every situation, your reality bends to that frame. People don't fail because they don't have resources. They fail because they don't have the resourcefulness that comes from the right state of mind. And let's be clear, mindset isn't about cheesy affirmations or wishful thinking. It's not about saying, I'm successful, while sitting on the couch doing nothing. A winning mindset is a weapon. It's forged in adversity, in repetition, in choosing the hard path when the easy one whispers in your ear. It's the voice that says, I may not control what happens to me, but I control how I respond. That's where power begins. Look at the people who came from nothing and built empires. They weren't the smartest in the room. They weren't handed golden tickets. What they had was relentless belief in possibility, even when everyone around them said it couldn't be done. They treated every setback as training, every obstacle as a test, every no as a challenge to push harder. That mindset is what transformed their reality. Without it, they'd still be stuck, blaming circumstances, waiting for someone to save them. On the flip side, there are countless examples of people who had everything, money, influence, connections, and lost it all because they had the wrong mindset. Entitlement, complacency, fear of losing what they had instead of the hunger to create more. They proved that mindset doesn't just determine success, it determines survival. The world is shifting faster than ever. Industries collapse overnight. Technology rewrites the rules in months, not decades. Economies rise and fall like tides. In times like this, skills are important, strategy is important, but the foundation beneath it all is mindset. Without it, you'll panic when pressure comes. You'll freeze when you should move. You'll cling to old ways when you should adapt. With the right mindset, you'll see patterns others miss. You'll stay calm while everyone else is drowning in noise. You'll take bold action while the majority sits in hesitation. Think about it. Every breakthrough in history started with a mindset shift. Somebody looked at a problem everyone else accepted and said, there's another way. Somebody refused to think like the crowd and carved a new path. That's the same challenge you face right now. Do you keep thinking like everyone else, scared, reactive, waiting for permission? Or do you train your mind to see opportunities others dismiss, to move when others freeze, to believe in possibilities others can't even imagine? Mindset isn't built in a day. It's built in the choices you make every day. Do you wake up and let the world dictate your mood, or do you command it? Do you retreat at the first sign of resistance, or do you push harder when things get tough? Do you spend your time envying what others have, or do you study, execute, and earn it yourself? These tiny decisions, repeated daily, stack up into a mindset that either traps you or frees you. Understand this: disruption is inevitable, challenges are inevitable, failure is inevitable. What's not inevitable is your reaction. Your reaction is your choice, and that choice flows directly from your mindset. If you build a mindset that thrives on challenge, that welcomes discomfort, that sees beyond the immediate pain into the long-term payoff, you cannot lose. You might stumble, you might fall, but you'll always get back up stronger. And over time, the outcomes you create will look impossible to everyone else. At the end of the day, it's not the market, not your background, not your boss, not the system that decides where you end up. It's you. Your mindset is the architect of your destiny. Change your mind and you change your world. Think small and you'll live small. Think like a victim and life will punish you. But think like a creator. Think like a leader. Think like someone who owns every piece of their story. And you'll realize there's no limit to the outcome you can build. Because mindset doesn't just influence your results. It determines them. Right now, under the surface of everything you see in the headlines, a massive transfer of wealth is already happening. Most people don't even realize it because they're too distracted by noise, celebrity gossip, trending clips, political drama. But while the majority is glued to distractions, the minority is quietly positioning themselves to own the next decade. Wealth is never destroyed. It only moves. It flows from the unprepared to the prepared, from the passive to the proactive, from the consumers to the creators. And we are in the middle of one of the largest transfers in history. Think about the last major crises. In every downturn, in every collapse, some people lost everything while others walked away richer than ever. The Great Depression crushed millions, but it also minted billionaires who bought assets when everyone else was panicking. The 2008 housing crash wiped families out, yet it gave rise to investors who scooped up real estate at pennies on the dollar and built generational wealth. It's not the storm that decides who wins. It's the decisions you make inside the storm. Right now, the same dynamic is at play. Inflation, technological disruption, shifting global powers, even social instability. All of these forces are shaking the system. And when systems shake, cracks open up. The unprepared fall through those cracks. The prepared build empires inside them. The transfer of wealth doesn't ask permission. It doesn't wait for you to get ready. It rewards speed, awareness, and courage. But here's the problem. Most people think wealth transfer is some abstract thing happening on Wall Street. They think it's out of reach. They don't see how it's connected to their daily choices. Every time you waste time instead of building skills, you're handing wealth to someone else. Every time you scroll mindlessly while others are learning, you're giving them your future. Every time you consume without creating, you're feeding someone else's empire. That's the hidden truth. The transfer of wealth is happening on a personal level, too. The new economy is being built right now. Entire industries are being disrupted. Artificial intelligence is already replacing jobs faster than people want to admit. Decentralized systems are challenging traditional finance. Digital assets, automation, energy transitions, global trade shifts. These are not just buzzwords. They are the levers of wealth transfer. If you're not learning where value is moving, you're playing a game that's already stacked against you. And let's be brutally honest, the majority will miss it. They'll complain about the system, blame governments, rant about unfairness. Meanwhile, those who stay calm, study trends, adapt, and take calculated risks will scoop up the rewards. That's the cruel symmetry of every economic shift. When fear dominates the majority, opportunity hides in plain sight for the few. But this doesn't mean it's too late. In fact, this is the window. The transfer isn't over, it's accelerating. It's like a river changing its course. You can either stand still and get washed away, or you can step in with a strategy and ride it downstream. That means shifting from a consumer mindset to a producer mindset. It means asking, how do I provide value in this new economy? What skills are scarce? What assets are undervalued? Where is attention moving? And how can I position myself there before everyone else wakes up? If you're waiting for permission, you'll be left behind. Nobody is going to knock on your door and hand you opportunity. Opportunity shows up disguised as risk, disguised as uncertainty, disguised as chaos. And while most run from it, a select few run toward it. That's the separation. That's why some people will be shattered by what's coming, and others will walk away wealthier than they ever imagined. Understand this: wealth doesn't vanish in downturns. It changes hands. Every dollar someone loses, someone else gains. Every asset that gets dumped in panic is scooped up by someone with vision. Every shift in technology that eliminates jobs creates new industries for those with courage to pivot. The future isn't about watching the transfer happen, it's about deciding which side of it you'll stand on. So ask yourself, when this chapter of history is written, will you be the one who handed your wealth, your time, your future to those who were smarter, faster, and hungrier? Or will you be the one who positioned yourself, stayed alert, and claimed the upside while everyone else was paralyzed? Because make no mistake, wealth is transferring right now. The only question is, are you losing it or are you gaining it? Knowledge has always separated those who lead from those who follow, but today, it's not just a luxury, it's survival. In a world shifting at the speed of technology, ignorance is no longer harmless, it's lethal. The people who don't update their understanding, who don't sharpen their perspective, who don't arm themselves with the right information will be swallowed whole by change they never saw coming. And the ones who take knowledge seriously will own the future. Most people confuse knowledge with information. They think scrolling through social media feeds makes them informed. They think repeating headlines means they're educated. But information without depth, without context, without application is noise. Knowledge is different. Knowledge is information turned into insight, refined into strategy, and applied with precision. It's not about knowing 1,000 things. It's about knowing the right thing at the right time and knowing how to use it. Think about history. Every major revolution, every empire built, every fortune created. It all started with knowledge others ignored or underestimated. The printing press wasn't just technology. It was the transfer of knowledge to the masses, creating power shifts that reshaped society. The Industrial Revolution wasn't just machines. It was the knowledge of how to organize production, scale processes, and use innovation to dominate. Today, artificial intelligence isn't just a buzzword. It's concentrated knowledge coded into systems that can outperform humans. Those who learn it, master it, and leverage it will thrive. Those who dismiss it will be replaced by it. Knowledge is leverage. It lets you see what others can't. It gives you clarity when the crowd is confused. It allows you to act decisively when everyone else hesitates. Without it, you're guessing, and in times of disruption, guessing is the fastest way to lose everything. The ones who survive chaos aren't the strongest or the wealthiest. They're the most informed. They see the storm earlier, they understand the patterns, and they prepare while everyone else is distracted. But here's the problem. Most people don't take knowledge seriously because it doesn't give instant gratification. They'd rather binge entertainment than read a book that could change their thinking. They'd rather debate politics than study global economics. They'd rather chase trends than learn timeless principles. And then they wonder why life feels stacked against them. It's not because the system is unbeatable. It's because they chose ignorance over knowledge. In times of disruption, the cost of ignorance multiplies. If you don't understand finance, your money bleeds away in inflation. If you don't understand technology, your job is automated while you're still updating your resume. If you don't understand geopolitics, you're blindsided when global shifts ripple into your daily life. Knowledge isn't optional. It's the shield and the sword. Without it, you're defenseless. With it, you're untouchable. And here's the secret: knowledge compounds. Every insight you gain becomes a building block for the next. The more you learn, the easier it becomes to spot patterns, connect dots, and anticipate moves others can't. That's why the people who read, research, and study relentlessly seem to predict the future. They're not psychic, they're prepared. They've seen enough data, enough history, enough signals to recognize what's about to happen. But knowledge is worthless if it stays locked in your head. Survival doesn't come from hoarding facts. It comes from application. It's the entrepreneur who learns about market shifts and pivots before competitors. It's the investor who studies cycles and moves capital when others panic. It's the individual who develops new skills before industries collapse. Knowledge applied is power. Knowledge unused is just potential energy wasted. Right now, the world is screaming with signals. You can choose to tune them out and stay blind, or you can train yourself to see through the noise. That means investing time every day in learning, reading, listening, analyzing, questioning. It means being skeptical of the mainstream narrative and digging deeper until you understand what's really happening. It means surrounding yourself with people who challenge your thinking instead of feeding your complacency. The people who will thrive in the coming storm aren't the ones with the biggest bank accounts today. They're the ones with the sharpest minds, the clearest perspectives, and the hunger to keep learning. Because money without knowledge disappears fast, but knowledge will rebuild wealth again and again. At the end of the day, you can't control the economy. You can't control technological revolutions. You can't control geopolitical shifts, but you can control how much you know, how fast you learn, and how deeply you apply it. And that's enough to change your trajectory entirely. Ignorance is expensive. Knowledge pays forever. If you want to survive, if you want to thrive, if you want to stand on the right side of history when everything shifts, you need to treat knowledge as your most valuable tool. Because in a world where everything is changing, the people who know will always own the people who don't. This is your last warning. Most people will hear those words, shrug them off, and keep doing exactly what they've always done. They'll convince themselves they have time. They'll tell themselves the system will protect them, that somehow everything will work out. But deep down, they know it won't. They know the cracks are already showing, that the world isn't stable, that the ground beneath their feet is shifting. And yet, they'll keep ignoring it. That's why most people lose. Because they wait until it's too late to take action. Look around, the signs are everywhere. Economies are stretched, governments are desperate, and technologies are rewriting the rules faster than anyone can keep up. Entire industries are being restructured, jobs that felt untouchable are vanishing, and the rules you were taught to follow no longer apply. The storm isn't coming, it's here, but because it hasn't fully exploded in their face yet, the majority still believes they're safe. They're not, they're standing on borrowed time. Every crisis has a tipping point, a moment where everything accelerates, and the window to prepare slams shut. Right now, we are standing just before that point. And this is why the warning matters. Once the dominoes fall, there won't be time to scramble, to learn, to pivot. Those who didn't prepare will be locked into their fate. That's not fear, that's reality. The warning isn't meant to scare you into paralysis. It's meant to wake you up, to shake you out of the illusion that you can coast through life, consume endlessly, waste hours, and somehow expect to be shielded from what's ahead. That illusion is deadly, because when everything changes, comfort zones become cages. Here's what will happen. The majority will panic. They'll run to governments for answers, to employers for security, to institutions for protection. But those very institutions are crumbling. They're not prepared to save anyone but themselves. The safety nets people have relied on will rip apart under pressure, and the people who ignored the warnings will find themselves trapped with no way out. But there's another group, the few who listened, who acted, who refused to wait for permission. They'll move with confidence while the majority freezes. They'll already have the skills, the assets, the knowledge, and the network to navigate the storm. While others are begging for a lifeline, they'll be seizing opportunities that look invisible to everyone else. That's the separation that warnings create, the division between the ones who saw it coming and the ones who didn't. You still have a choice. That's the point of a warning. It's not final, it's a chance, but chances don't last forever. Every day you waste scrolling, consuming, distracting yourself, you're gambling with your future. Every day you put off learning, building, adapting, you're digging the hole deeper, and when the collapse accelerates, excuses won't matter. No one will care why you weren't ready. You'll either be prepared or you won't. This is your last warning because time is running out. The luxury of waiting is gone. You can no longer afford to see how it plays out. By the time the average person realizes what's happening, it will already be too late to position yourself. The moves you make now, how you think, what you study, who you align with, where you invest your energy, those are the moves that decide whether you survive, thrive, or collapse with the rest. Understand this, history is ruthless. It doesn't reward intentions, it rewards preparation. The ones who adapt, who anticipate, who act early, they are the ones remembered. The rest are forgotten footnotes, casualties of change they ignored until it consumed them. Don't think you're immune. Don't think it can't happen to you. Every person who's ever been blindsided by collapse thought the same thing. You're being given a final signal, a chance to wake up before the tide hits. If you ignore it, that's your decision. But it's a decision that will cost you everything. If you act on it, you position yourself to rise while others fall. That's the brutal truth. The future isn't kind to the unprepared. This is your last warning. The question is, will you treat it like noise, or will you treat it like the line between survival and destruction? The clock is ticking. The choice is yours. I'm not telling you this to scare you. I'm telling you this so you can rise. Because most people have no idea what's about to happen. But if you hear this, if you act on this, you'll be the one who walks through that storm with pockets full of opportunity. The question isn't if it's coming, it's how are you going to show up when it does.